What's up, patrons? How are you guys doing? It's movie night. Let me go over here to... All right, we got 8 people in here already. Cool. How are you guys doing today? This is awesome. I see Jason Nike, Santos, John Ingold, Holly, Nick. I said Jason Nike, didn't I? Beth's in here. Jason Mongold. Yeah. A lot of cool people in here. I think this is John Ingold's first one, right? Or first patron stream. Welcome, John. Welcome to the party, pal. How are you guys doing today? Are you guys... Man, it's been rainy here today, too. Jesus. All freaking day. Now I live here near Cape Canaveral, and I think the I don't even know if the shuttle went off today. Did it? If you guys know, let me know. I mean, I don't watch the news that much, and it's funny. I live right here where the shuttle is, and I don't know if it went off or not. It's just so bad, so bad. But I know how Kelly LeBrock looks. I'm looking at her right now. That's what matters, right? Watching movies with you fine people. What kind of snacks you guys got? Let's see. And now, I'm going to need you guys to help me out on this one too, okay? These are very, very loose. And by the way, unlike the vlogs, which are only temporarily public, these are public after. And most of the time they're private. You know, that's just between us when we watch it live. But after, then it goes public. So if you're watching this after the fact, after it was live, this is kind of a cool perk that me and my patrons do together. Every month we watch a movie together, and it's really fun. Jason Mongold says, no, they delayed the shuttle because of the weather, rescheduled it for Saturday, 3:22 p.m. Yeah, that's what I thought. Damn it, Beth, I forgot to grab my bra. Shit. I really did mean to have a bra on my head. Damn it. Does anybody have a bra on their head right now? If you do, I'd like you to take a picture and post it in the page. Yeah. Oh man, I gave this movie a fresh watch too. Last week. Was it last week? I just bought the Arrow release because I wanted to buy this one anyway. And I saw this beautiful, beautiful cover for the Arrow release. And I had to have that. Had to. And it feels very... it's like a matte finish on the slipcover. It's really nice though. Man, Arrow release, I tell you, they give Shout Factory a run for the money. Not that I'm not thankful for Shout Factory. Don't get me wrong. I freaking love Shout Factory, okay? But... it's nice to have the Arrow alternative. Okay. Now for snacks, I have, definitely Jason. Beth is putting out really cool content. And you know what? I don't see any other content like Beth's out there. You know, she just plays vinyl for everybody, and it's really cool. And she's been doing the tags lately. Like the tag that she did today was really cool. 41 weird questions. It kind of made me want to do that tag. It sounds kind of fun. I got cheese popcorn. And I got a Coke. And I got some water. And I got a KFC cookie. Chocolate chip. So, I should be disgustingly full by the end of this. Alright, so Beth's got this one. She's watching this one tonight. The joy of temporarily working from home is not having to wear a bra. Exactly. Exactly, Holly. So who's ready to start the movie? Are you guys ready to kick this thing off? Let me get my remote. Hold on. Pizza is my snack. Holly's having pizza. You know what? I had, I'm kind of embarrassed. I only had Cocoa Pebbles for dinner. I was in the mood for just a bowl of Cocoa Pebbles for some reason. and I didn't really have a dinner. So usually before a stream, though, I got a little bit of the butterflies, so I'm not, my appetite's not all that. And then during the stream, I start getting hungry, and then after the stream, I want to go straight to Waffle House. So, not that I go to Waffle House, but so let me find my remote. And oh, I wanted to do that. The Robert Downey Jr. Russ. What's his friend's name? Max. Hold on, I want to do that for you guys real quick. Is that right? He's like something like that. I just like that move that they did. Already ate a burger and tater tots from Sonic. Oh gosh, Sonic has really, really, really good burgers actually. So I don't need this. I don't know why I'm putting this in my ear. Okay. Okay, so Jason's ready. He's ready. I'm ready. Let me find my freaking remote. Hold on. I had a remote. You know what? Because I'm gonna. Oh, there it is. All right. I'm gonna count us down. How do we always do it? We do it from 10, right? So okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Play. I'm gonna do. I guess I'll do theatrical version. Theatrical. Okay. So the Arrow release lets you do either the extended or the theatrical version. I don't know the big difference between the two, but the other night I watched the theatrical version. So, the good old Universal logo. It might be one of my favorite logos, especially for like the early 80s. I just loved that look of the Universal logo. Perfect start. You get to see the two teenagers, and the camera just pans up. Man, the quality of this release is not the best in some places. You can tell that the film definitely took some damage along the way. Not that I don't mind grain, and there's a couple of horror movie alumni in this movie too, actually. Anthony Michael Hall is so freaking funny in this. He's so freaking good. I forgot how effective of a comedy actor he is. I mean, wow. He had me rolling. I mean, right from the get-go, this opening scene. Let me put on my subtitles. What's cool about this for me is this. I'm pretty close in age to Anthony Michael Hall and the other guy. I can't remember the other guy's name. He quit acting when he was like 22. But yeah, Anthony Michael Hall, he's probably like 4 years older than me. So this was pretty much when I went to high school. Or I guess middle school. I graduated in 91. So. But yeah, the girl from Friday Part 4. And they just got pantsed. What is it about like gyms in 80s high school movies? It seems like the gym scene is always the good scene, you know? And it seems like somebody always gets either pantsed or like, it makes me think of Trick or Treat from 1986 when that's a little bit more of a depressing gym scene because he gets completely pantsed and you just see his bare ass, but everybody's laughing at him, you know? So that's it. I don't know. You just felt bad for him. Whereas in this one, I think it helped too that they had each other. Jason graduated in 98. Jason Nike. Jason Mongold says, I always found it weird that this and Breakfast Club are only about a year apart. As a matter of fact, John Hughes, he agreed to do this movie so he could make Breakfast Club. So he was working round the clock around this time. He was exhausted. And he did this movie first, And then he followed it immediately up with Breakfast Club. And I think he was starting like pre-production and all kinds of stuff while he was still doing this movie for Breakfast Club. Yeah, I love that song. I get that song and the Thomas Dolby song, She Blinded Me with Science, mixed up. Now, who is it? Who is it? This is a warm up round, okay? Can somebody tell me who is it that sings Weird Science? Okay, this isn't for the prize. This is a warm up round, okay? Because there's going to be some trivia in here. If I can set this whole thing up, Beth, she's going to be giving away an Oingo Boingo single vinyl, which is so kind of her. Really, really cool. And let me grab. I'm gonna throw in something too. Let me grab it. Hold on. And I'm gonna be throwing in this. This is a double feature, Scream Queen double feature. You get The Fog and The Howling. So that's it. Yeah, Nick. Cooling, he got it. Oingo Boingo. Now you don't win the prize, Nick. Okay, that's just a warm up round. All right. And what's interesting is that I was doing some trivia today on this, and Danny Elfman, he hates this song. Danny Elfman was in Oingo Boingo. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but Danny Elfman hates the song Weird Science. Like, he hates it. Holly says she had a crush on Anthony Michael Hall. I could see that. You know, Anthony Michael Hall, I can kind of compare. I was kind of like Anthony Michael Hall. I was really skinny. I was really lanky. I was a goofball all the time. Yeah, so I can really relate to him. I was always like nervous around girls, and well, I guess he's not too nervous around. But these two kids are actually pretty nervous sometimes. They're nerds, you know. I consider myself. I was a nerd when I was a kid. I was in band, you know. I played a little bit of football once I got into what grade was it? Like 11th grade. I played a little bit of football, but football was never really my thing. Basketball was probably my favorite sport. Like, I actually enjoy playing basketball. I think I'm pretty decent at basketball. I got a good 3-pointer shot, but I've never been like great at any sport, you know. But that's the one that I have fun with, is basketball. But I related to these kids the most. I didn't relate to Robert Downey Jr. and his friend. Those were the bullies, you know. I definitely wasn't a bully in high school. I was never that. And this movie, we're about to get right into the awesomeness. One thing I always loved so much about Weird Science was the idea of these two guys who are just horny as hell, but they're intelligent, and so they make a girl with their computer. But it's interesting because usually when you have really smart, nerdy kids in movies, they're not as horny as these two kids are. Like, these seem like normal, funny kids in school. They don't seem like they're Einsteins. But they have to be Einsteins in order for this plot to work. So it's almost like we just kind of set that aside. Like, are they really that smart and that horny? I guess you can be. And this is probably my favorite sequence of the movie, when they're actually making the girl, you know, because I guess from like a script point of view, like, how do you write all that? You know, what's the technical jargon and all that stuff that you put on paper? You know, the A to the B to the C to get Kelly LeBrock at the end of it. No easy task for a writer, but it works. You know, when you see the process on screen, for some reason you buy it. And I think that's what's great about audiences, is we're willing to believe anything that we see on screen as long as you just give us a few little details along the way. We're not going to nitpick it. Most of it's like I've never heard anybody nitpick this movie, and I think it's because it's not a drama; it's a comedy. It's really funny. So I think in comedies, especially, you're going to give that creative license. They should have made a Weird Science knockoff with Ted and Jimmy from Friday 4. Now here's the question: who's more horny, Ted and Jimmy, or what are these two kids' names? I just watched this the other night too, and I can't remember their freaking names. Hold on, I got the trivia up here. Let me see, because I hate to not know their names. Hold on. Yeah, Robert Russler plays Max. He was in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. He's the friend of Robert Downey Jr. But okay, so Gary and Wyatt. Okay, we're caught up. Gary and Wyatt. All right. Now I always remember Chet, and we're gonna get to Chet. But Robert is Ian, Robert Downey Jr., and Robert Russler's Max. Okay. So I like how Wyatt, he's like sweating, like profusely, from just pushing buttons. So now they break out the magazines, mostly Playboys, and of course a picture of David Lee Roth slips in there somehow. So Lisa, she's pretty much just a combination of all these different things, you know, and I guess that could be the quote unquote perfect girl. Yeah, there's David Lee Roth. David Lee Roth is a highly intelligent person. Actually, I was watching the Joe Rogan podcast. I probably watch Joe Rogan podcast at least every day on my lunch when I'm at work. I sit in my car and I watch Joe Rogan. Or if there's something else interesting, then I'll watch that. But Joe Rogan usually wins. And he was in. I just clicked on like his interview with David Lee Roth that he did, I think last year. And man, Joe Rogan didn't even have to talk. Oh, here's the famous bra scene where they got the bra. That's genius, just to put the bras on their heads. Now, one thing about this movie that you're going to notice is the actors, the script, everything feels very loose. You can probably tell that there was a lot of improvising on set. It was a very, I guess, fun set. You know, it wasn't stressful, which comedies can go either way from what I've heard anyway. You know, some comedies, everybody's stressed out because they're trying, you know, you want to make people laugh. But I think it works best when you're not so, you know, bent out of shape and everybody's just having a good time. And that's basically what happened on the set of this movie. They were all just having a blast with each other because it's such a silly script. And when you're dealing with when you throw a little bit of science fiction in there, like, yeah, you got the dog freaking on the ceiling. All this crazy stuff's going on in the process of creating Lisa. But when you introduce science fiction into your story, then whatever behaviors that you see out of the characters, it's like it doesn't bother us, you know? We believe it. You can get as zany and as crazy as you want because we're dealing with science fiction here. They're creating a girl that they could basically do anything they want. This is pre-Real Doll stuff, and I'm wondering if the whole Real Doll fascination that was in the 90s, I wonder if this might have been sort of a catalyst for that. And aren't guys disgusting? We really are just disgusting creatures. So I'm going to read some of your comments. They should have made a Weird Science knockoff with Ted. Oh, I read that one. Okay. Where are we at time-wise in the movie? I'm going to tell you right now. Hold on just a sec. Let me hit my display. I am at 13 minutes exactly. 13 minutes. Matter of fact, at 13 minutes, That's kind of strange. At exactly 13 minutes, the camera pans up to reveal Lisa. And you see this whole like pink fog behind her. It's alive! Yeah, and the first words out of her mouth. What would you little maniacs like to do first? Can you imagine that? You're a freaking 14-year-old kid, and you know how hormones are raging when you're 14 years old. And this pretty much supermodel girl comes out and says, "What would you like to do first?" So now we're on the very famous shower scene. And I was actually watching a panel today with them, and Anthony Michael Hall and the other actor. They were talking about this scene, and funny enough, wouldn't you know it, they had to shoot this scene I think over a couple days because Anthony Michael Hall and the other guy couldn't stop laughing. You know what? Let me look at the guy's name. I know he's got he's got one of those three word names. Yeah, Ian Mitchell Smith. Okay, Ian Mitchell Smith. So on purpose, I think they were enjoying that scene so much that it ended up stretching out over 2 days. And when you watch the movie, it's literally like 30 seconds. Beth says, I love Joe Rogan too. Props to him for his new deal with Spotify. Yeah. He basically jumped on Spotify because he wanted a little bit more freedom, I guess, because YouTube has been clamping down on content, on what you can say, monetization, all that stuff. I mean, I fight YouTube with monetization constantly. It is a pain, but unfortunately we have no other outlet. It's just YouTube. Now, Beth said she's going to throw some trivia out here, too, from time to time. This movie was just John Hughes' teenage fantasy. Exactly. John agrees with me. We are disgusting. Does anyone remember Weird Science TV show? I was literally just reading about that. I guess I think they said there were like 5 seasons, and I don't remember a single season of Weird Science on TV. Happened in the 90s, I think. John says, Kelly almost turned me straight when I saw this in the theater. That reminds me of like my friend Dylan that passed. He said the one girl that could turn him straight was Sherry Moon Zombie. Like he said he wanted to marry Sherry Moon Zombie like so bad. Oh, we're at the bar scene. I freaking love this scene. The bartender, when he basically tells Robert Downey Jr. to shove it straight up his ass, I fell out of my chair. There's been a few movies where characters like walk into a bar and then all of a sudden you hear like a record scratch and everybody stops and turns and looks at them. I know there's been quite a few movies where that happens. Okay, here we go. Beth's got a trivia question, okay? How old was Anthony Michael Hall when he joined SNL? I know he was really, really, really young. I don't know the answer to that, though. I have a guess. My guess would be what Nick Cooling's saying. I think I read he was 17. But yeah, him and Robert Downey Jr. both were on SNL for a brief period. Am I right on that, Beth? He and Robert Downey Jr. were both on the same season. Yes, exactly. And I never saw that season. I didn't even know that until I read that today. I forget her name, but the girl who played Claudia in Kingpin played Lisa in the TV show. That's right. That's right. Vanessa, was it Vanessa Angel? She's so good in Kingpin. Now we're at the scene where Anthony Michael Hall gets drunk. I already forgot his name. And Wyatt, Gary, and Wyatt. That's it. So we're at the scene where Gary gets drunk, and this is one of the funniest scenes that I've ever seen. It's hilarious. That one guy's laugh freaking kills me. Now I noticed there was a few like horror references, a few homages to horror. Obviously, Frankenstein's the biggest one, but I noticed when I was watching it last time there were a couple. I love how he's telling like Fats, this blues guy about this crush that he had on an eighth grade girl. I guess even teenagers can get the blues, right? You women have always been our downfall. Always. But we love you to death. Actually, we've probably been your downfall too. Every damn night, man. Man, Anthony Michael Hall is so comfortable in front of the camera. He seems like a really cool dude. Like, you know how some celebrities, they get really full of themselves. I mean, some of them, they just can't help it. They get so big that, they're pretty much in a bubble. But Anthony Michael Hall just seems like a guy that you could hang out with, that you could drink a beer with. You know? I was I was watching the panel today with him, and I don't know, he's just so giving to the fans. It was just basically the three. It was him, um, Ian. What did I say? Ian Mitchell. Thank God for IMDb. Jesus. Ian Mitchell Smith, yeah, and Kelly LeBrock. It was them three, and I think, and I don't know, but I think Ian Mitchell Smith. I think he had a bad situation somewhere along the line because of the three, he seemed kind of like the outcast. And after listening to them talk, and you guys can check it out on YouTube yourself, and if you think I'm wrong, let me know. But when I was watching it, it seemed like he maybe felt left out a little bit, And he said he was 15 years old, and when you're 15 and you are in Hollywood and you haven't done that much, it probably is like a fish out of water, Whereas Anthony Michael Hall was like spending the night at John Hughes' house. He was really, really good friends with Hughes. He had already done a couple movies before this. So, he was pretty much like Drew Barrymore. Remember how Drew Barrymore, she's been in the business her whole life. So she was going to parties when she was 10 years old. But it seems like this kid, Ian Mitchell, I don't know. He seemed like he wasn't having a good time, I guess. Or maybe something happened along the way. I don't know. And the business, it's not for everybody. So he ended up quitting when he was 22 years old. There's my nuts are halfway up my ass, but better than that, I'm perfect. We just had that line. By the way, Anthony Michael Hall, he pretty much mirrored that performance after Richard Pryor. There was a character that Richard Pryor did in his stand-up. So Anthony Michael Hall used that. Holly Klein says, I love that John Hughes did a lot of filming for his movies around where he was born in Illinois. A few years ago, I visited the Home Alone house, Uncle Buck, and 16 Candles. That's so cool. It was really a special time in the 80s because of John Hughes. John Hughes had so many great comedies, and they worked because there was so much heart in them. Even Weird Science has heart. You know, at the end, there's like a lesson there, you know? When he slams... Chet is the worst, best brother ever. Like, he's just such an asshole. And what's great is, like, throughout the whole movie, you think that at the end of it, he's going to do something nice to take up for his brother, because that's usually what happens. You know, because brothers always fight. But no, he's just a complete asshole all the way through. But when he's talking to his brother and he slams his head up against the wall, Bill Paxton, just that pure genius, Bill Paxton. Oh, here it is. He's about to do the laugh with the greasy pork sandwich. And these actors, they just seem so... Like, you can tell when you're watching movies when actors are comfortable with each other, when they're having a good time. Thank God, even when I was in the military, I never had that haircut. You know, that flat top. Like, you could land a helicopter on his head. It's just a pure flat top. And I knew a lot of guys when I was in the military that had that cut. And it seems like the guys that get that cut... This is the true story right here. The guys that get the flat top cut, they have it forever. They start their career and end their career with that flat top haircut. It's the strangest thing. But I was never, ever, ever, ever that guy. I always wanted to have just a straight... In the military, we had to have our we couldn't have our hair touching our ears. But, you know, when I was a kid going in the military, I always thought that, you know, you had to shave your head. That's what you think when you're a kid, you know. When you think of military guys, you think they shave their head. So I was happy. I was elated when I went into the military, and I could still have a normal hairdo. Now, this is an awkward scene. I mean, Lisa is kissing a 14-year-old boy, and this is, like, in the 80s, the kisses were real. I don't want to get weird and creepy on you, but you know what I'm talking about. These days, and me and my wife talk about it all the time. These days, when you're watching, you know, movies, even R-rated movies, it seems like actors, all they do is they mash faces, and that's it, and then they pull back. You know, everything seems staged. The kiss seems staged these days. Back in the 80s, not staged at all. And I'm watching this scene right now. It's really, really freaking weird. Because he's 14 years old. I guess behind the scenes too, he kept like putting his tongue in her mouth, and she told him she was basically gonna beat the shit out of him if he does that again. So, but what an awkward scene for her, you know? Like, he was probably enjoying it, but for her, that must have been a really awkward scene. And I don't think they'd be able to do that today. Like, that scene would never be done today. I mean, do you guys think that? Can you see them actually filming a scene like this today with a 14-year-old? And maybe they have. Maybe what do I know? Maybe they have done a scene like that. I remember there was the movie Birth with Nicole Kidman, but she never like kissed the kid, you know? And he was like 10 years old or something like that. And I guess he was like her husband reincarnated or something. Very strange plot. Cringe, that scene would so not happen nowadays. Exactly, Beth. Exactly. And it goes on for a while, too. And it makes me think, when you shoot scenes like that, you know they're going to do more than one take. So, must have been really weird for Kelly LeBrock. Because she's in her, I would guess, late 20s, maybe even early 30s in this movie. Maybe late 20s. So, now, we're going to be doing the trivia question for the grand prize, the only prize, here soon. Beth, when do you think I should do it? Do you think I should do it now, or do you think I should wait a little bit? I'm going to munch on some popcorn real quick. Also, logistically, like, if you made your own girl and she's got a good brain, she's smart, she's got a good brain, freaking moron, she's smart, she's like Einstein smart, I guess, according to this, then you got to deal with that, John Hughes wrote this script in 2 days, though. He pretty much had the idea, had it written in 2 days. Which I think it's the kind of script that writes itself. Like, you start off with that premise of creating a girl, and you can pretty much go anywhere from there. Okay, I'll do the question here in a minute. Hold on. It's so funny when he walks in with the panties. I always thought that they had sex. And it wasn't until this last watch that I realized that they didn't. I guess she said he fell asleep or something. But he still ended up with their panties on. Morning, turd brain. Okay, we're going to do the prize. We're going to do the grand prize. Again, what you're playing for, you're not playing anything. You're just watching this, okay? Who does that with eggs? Ooh, we should do Porkies. Would you guys be down for Porkies? Oh my God, I freaking love Porkies. These eggs? Porkies was one of those really taboo movies. I remember when I was, I would have probably been like 7, 8 years old when Porkies came out. And I remember it coming to HBO, and it was one of those movies like, parents, don't dare let your kids watch this movie. It's got nudity and boobies, and I wanted to watch Porky so bad. Okay, but you're what you're playing for, okay? You're playing for a vinyl single of, I believe it's the Weird Science single. Correct me if I'm wrong, Beth, by Oingo Boingo. And this double feature, The Fog and The Howling. I believe Holly said she has not seen The Fog or The Howling, which I'm in shock, but I can't say anything because there's a lot of movies I haven't seen. They live, so I can't say anything. But of these two movies, you have to see The Fog. The Howling's great too. They're both great, but The Fog, that's freaking classic. Okay, so I will say Beth provided this question. I have a backup question that I found myself if nobody can get the answer to this question, okay? So somebody give me a yes. If you're ready for the question, give me a yes. I want to make sure that everybody's ready for this. I want to make sure that you guys all have a fair shot, okay? They're at the mall. I love the mall. Oh, yeah. What's her face from Night of the Creeps? Jill Whitlow. Jill Whitlow is in this movie. I didn't even realize Jill Whitlow was in this. Oh, Porky's would be so freaking fun. Are you guys ready for the question or what? Come on. 12-inch original single of Weird Science. Okay, John's ready. Okay, I'm getting some yeses. A lot of yeses coming in. Sweet. All right, here we go. Give me the name of the club that they go to with Lisa. The club that Lisa first goes to with Wyatt and Gary. What is the name of that club? Go. I'm excited. I'm really excited. It's interesting that Wyatt and Gary, they put them with girls that had the same color hair as each of them. Because usually they switch it up. Like they'd put the blonde with the brunette and the brunette with the blonde. But no. Oh, I think that was pasta. They just got pasta. Ooh, Holly says Kinky Bar. I think it's... Oh, John got it. John, God, Holly, you were so freaking close. Beth, back me up on this. I need your verification. Did John get it? It's not the Blue Oyster Bar. I'm going to wait for Beth's verification, but I think John Ingold got it. Beth. Yep, John got it. This is fun. We should do these like every... we should do this a giveaway like every time. It's fun. I got tons of freaking Blu-rays I could give away, so... You know, maybe I'll do that like every time we do one of these. Oh, Robert Downey Jr.'s face when they're going up the escalator. So, John, here's how this is going to work. It's easy because we're all Patreon members. So, I'll message you on Patreon. So, look for my message. And I need to get your address. Okay? Once I get your address, then I'll get it. I'll ship this out, the double feature that I just dropped. I promise you, though, I didn't hurt it, okay? I can't believe I just threw your double feature. Jesus. I'm such a bad host. And then Beth is going to send you the Oingo Boingo single. Yeah, we could all, like, next time Jason could be part of the giveaway and he could send something out. Really cool. Now, we could keep doing trivia all night, though. Okay? I have a trivia question for you. I'm going to give it to you right now. Robert Downey Jr.'s face. We passed up the scene where he does the thing with the girls. You know, every nerdy kid wants this. They want this to happen when they're in school and the bullies are always ahead of them. The bullies always win, it feels like, when you're in school, right? And so this is pretty much Nerds Redemption. That's what this movie is. It's like Revenge of the Nerds. We love it when the nerds win. So, here's my question. When they were creating Lisa, they put some pictures from like Playboy, all this stuff into their scanner. Name one of the celebrities besides David Lee Roth, because I already gave you David Lee Roth. Name one of the celebrities that they put into that scanner. Okay? Can any of you do that? Because I have a particular person that they put in there. And I'll say it's a female that I'm thinking of, okay? That they put in there. And she's from Playboy, all right? I've given you enough. You know what? Let me see if I have... I might have one more thing to give away if you can get this question. But it's a particular person I'm looking for, okay? And... No, it's a female, John, okay? And John, you can't win. This is... You're not going to win this one. It's a female... And I'm going to give you the last part of the clue. But let me look and see if I have an extra Blu-ray. Hold on. Okay, guys, I'm so sorry that took so long. I have this is a brand new copy of Halloween 2. I'm going to give this to somebody who can answer this question, okay? All right. One of the females that went into the machine, she had a pop single in the 80s. If you can tell me who that was, Beth, you're included in this, okay? So if you can tell me who that was, you will win this brand new universal release of Halloween 2. And most of you probably have this anyway, but you can give it to a friend or something. Okay? No, I'm not. It's not Madonna. This is I think she had like one hit. Okay? I don't think anybody's going to get this. This is crazy. I'm showing my age. Had a little bit of a crush on her in the 80s. I did. I love this scene when she pulls the gun out and points it at his parents. Not Tiffany. Not Tiffany, but I don't want to say you're in the right ballpark. Jason Nike just won it. Jason Nike just won it. Samantha Fox. You did it, brother. Jason Nike won it. You win the brand new copy of Halloween 2 with Terror in the Aisles. I always tell people when you have Halloween 2, you want the Shout Factory edition for the documentaries. But I think the release of the Universal is the better release because it keeps the grain intact. Holly, you were so freaking close. You were right behind Jason. But yeah, Jason won it with the Samantha Fox. I mean, Holly was right there. You just missed it. But Terror in the Owls is a really good documentary on here too, and it's hosted by Donald Pleasance. So, you guys are making me want to give more stuff away. Jesus. I love you guys. Now, these kids, they don't realize that Lisa ends up kind of teaching them life lessons along the way. The single that, okay, Jason Nike just said give it to Holly. Holly, you won it. So, Holly, you get the Halloween 2 brand new Blu-ray. So, congratulations. Now, can any of you tell me the song that she sang? I was just listening to it on Spotify the other day, actually. Now, if I'm taking my adult brain out of my head, okay, and I'm putting in the horny teenager in my head, realistically, this could have turned into a porno. Okay? But it's not that. It's a John Hughes movie. Because that's what those two boys would have probably done. Not all kids would do that, of course, but they end up, it seems like a lot of 80s movies always ended with a party, or there was always a party in there. Look at all that food. This is where the movie gets crazy too, because this is a wild party. And it's interesting to me that every time they start, like, they want to create another girl for Max and Robert Downey Jr. And in the process of creating this girl, all this weird, crazy, otherworldly shit starts happening. For some reason, furniture starts flying out of chimneys. I don't know. It's weird. I forgot the scene too, where earlier they're in the club, and Wyatt goes into the bathroom. This scene always has me rolling. And then you hear him go, well, god damn. And then you look down and his feet are in front of another guy's feet. Toilet humor. There's nothing like it. But speaking of toilet humor, he's sitting on a toilet right now. And can you imagine the first time you meet this girl that you really want to go out on a date with? You just got through. What's the nice way to put this? You just got through evacuating, I guess, in the bathroom. And so they got, like, the first time he meets her, he has to, like, light a match. Not your coolest moment. Shove it straight up your ass. Robert Downey Jr. looks so young in this. And it's crazy. Have you guys heard the Robert Downey Jr. defecation story? So I guess behind the scenes, Robert Downey Jr., and I think he admitted this later, but there's a rumor going on forever that he pretty much took a crap on the floor of one of the actress's trailers. And the rumor was that it was Kelly LeBrock's trailer, but he said it wasn't her trailer, it was somebody else. It was probably one of those two girls that are in this, maybe the Friday the 13th girl, I don't know. But John Hughes, it was a big deal on set, and John Hughes was trying to find out who did it. And then when he got to Robert Downey Jr., Robert Downey Jr. said, no, it wasn't me, but I wish I did do it, or something like that, So he tried to, like, play it like he wished he did do it to prove that he didn't do it, even though he did do it. And popcorn really, like, gets between your teeth. Beth says, Jason Nike, have you noticed Anthony Michael Hall's girlfriend in this movie and The Breakfast Club is from Canada? Oh, is she from Canada? The blonde, she was actually at Spooky Empire a couple years ago. I remember. Very nice, too. Yeah, here's the scene. I just read that. You're dropping wolf bait and there's chicks outside. Yeah, Iron Man did a poo. No. Oh my God, how embarrassing. Nick says, I rewatched this the other night and noticed those two horror girls right away. Friday the 13th final chapter and Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Can you believe I have not seen Killer Clowns from Outer Space yet? I need to see that one. She's been in some other things too. But yeah, at Spooky, I remember she had the banner for Killer Clowns behind her, so I guess that makes sense. Now, tell me what your favorite 80s comedy is. Mine is probably... Now, I'm not counting Breakfast Club, which is great, but like full-on comedy, I think it's Better Off Dead. I think that's probably my favorite 80s comedy. I love Better Off Dead so much. I've seen it so many times. It's probably my most watched comedy. And there's another one that's much lesser known called Skin Deep with John Ritter, but that one came out in 89, so it's like right at the end of the 80s. But those two are probably my two favorites. Yeah, I've been meaning to watch Killer Clowns. You know what? I need to do a double feature and just do Killer Clowns and They Live and get it over with. Yeah, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is classic. I think I have all the John Hughes movies, though. Like Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink. 16 Candles. Yeah. And you know, I'm a guy, right? So I'm not into like romantic comedies that much unless they're 80s. For some reason, I dig all the 80s romantic comedies. Some Kind of Wonderful, that one is fantastic. Which, by the way, that's the movie that Eric Stoltz did, I believe, like right after he was fired from Back to the Future. And I guess on set of Back to the Future, him and Leah Thompson actually had a thing going. And maybe that's part of the reason why they ended up on Some Kind of Wonderful together. Okay, I'm going to put the popcorn away. Sorry. John Ingold says, I just watched Pretty in Pink for the first time last week. I'm a guy, too. Pretty in Pink's classic. That's a great one. I remember, what's the guy's name? Andrew McCarthy. He was really up and coming in the 80s. I know Pretty in Pink was one of his big ones. He did Mannequin. He was in Less Than Zero, which is another one with Robert Downey Jr. I always thought his career was going to skyrocket. But then, I mean, he still works in Hollywood, and I think he does like some directing, some occasional acting. But he was kind of one of the, I guess he was like one of the heartthrobs back then in the 80s. Oh, One Crazy Summer. That's a good one, too, with Demi Moore. Yeah, same director as Better Off Dead. So you consider them the winter movie and the summer movie. I prefer Better Off Dead, but One Crazy Summer is still really good. It's really fun. When they go to Nantucket. Yeah, really good. His name is Blaine. I'm Team Ducky. Yeah, good old John Cryer. So the two, not one of them, but the two guys, they want Lisa. Like she's a piece of property. That's another reason why this movie would be controversial today. Because they're making a girl pretty much an object. Which, of course, Michael Bay does that in every movie, but it's not so blatant. Where in this movie, it's like really, really blatant. Now, all four of them are wearing bras on their heads. I wonder what the purpose of the bras are. 1986 Crossroads. I had to mention it. Yeah, man. Matter of fact, I got my... I had my VHS here somewhere for Crossroads. I just put it over here. I think it's behind the TV. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, here's that Crossroads VHS. So badass. Thank you so much, Jason. And the vinyl is in there too. Yeah, check that out, Jason. Crossroads vinyl. I popped it on the other day too. Sounds great. What a freaking movie. I remember when DVD first came out, and that was one of the first movies that I was looking for, was Crossroads. I wanted it on DVD so bad. Yeah, so now things get really, really psychedelic. I'm shitting in my pants. This is where the cats and dogs would live together. Okay? Now, I believe the piano player, she actually did this stunt. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Beth, but I believe she was like a Playboy Playmate. She was a Playboy Playmate because she's like in front of a pool or something like that. I didn't look it up. That's what I read, okay? Yeah, the you got the families like dancing in the family photos. I always think of the Memorex commercial when I see her like hanging, and then her top and her bottom comes off, and she's just in her like panties and bra. You know, watching this, I watched the extended cut the other night. I don't know what was cut out because it all looks the same. I gotta say though, like when I watched it the other night, I had a freaking blast with this movie, and I hadn't seen it in so many years. Probably like at least a good 10 years. I did long enough to where I didn't really remember a lot of the details about it, but it all came like rushing back to me when I was watching that. You know, that's just a sign of a good movie, I guess. So many great memories with this movie. I used to watch it all the time though, back in the 80s, the 90s. But I mean, isn't it crazy what happened to Robert Downey Jr.'s career too? You know, he did a few movies like this, and then he had his drug issue, and you know, there's a time where nobody thought Robert Downey Jr. was gonna, you know, make a comeback. His career seemed like it was over because he just constantly was going back to rehab, getting in trouble. And then all of a sudden, here comes Iron Man, and his career just explodes. Now, from what I was reading, they had to shoot some of this scene in reverse because of Anthony Michael Hall. When you got the missile coming up through the floor, I guess Anthony Michael Hall, he broke wind. This is true, and I guess everybody started laughing, and I guess it was $100,000 to shoot this scene, and they pretty much just salvaged what they could of the scene. And the way they made it work was they shot it in reverse. Look at that nice vinyl collection in the background. Beautiful. Ian Mitchell has such a weird voice. It's very high. Oh yeah, yeah. We got the Chet Jabba the Chet coming up. First DVD was Shrek. My first DVD actually was The Matrix. I remember. I remember my first two. It was The Matrix and um, Spies Like Us. Those were my two first DVDs. And I remember The Matrix was the movie that like launched DVD. It was like because it was brand new at the time, and you know, it was the movie that they got people to, you know, buy into DVD. Everybody wanted to see The Matrix on DVD. They thought, you know, they were getting this, I don't want to say high def, but, you know, it was the best quality presentation that you could have. It's funny how deceiving our eyes can be, you know, because we watch VHS. I remember when I would buy brand new VHS movies because I wanted the best presentation. And when I was watching it, it looked crystal clear to my eyes. And then here comes DVD. So when I was watching DVD, I was like, oh my God, I've never seen movies this clear in my life. This is amazing. And then your eyes get used to that. And then here comes Blu-ray. Same thing. I remember first seeing Blu-ray. I actually went purple. I had a Blu-ray. Speaking of Blu-ray, the whole kitchen's blue. But I had a Blu-ray and an HD DVD player. I went purple, as they call it. because there were certain studios that were with HD DVD and certain studios that were with Blu-ray. And I was just floored. I was blown away. And I even remember the first movie I watched on HD DVD was, I believe it was 300. And I was, it was just, it was the clearest thing I'd ever seen in my life. And then here comes 4K, I think the difference with 4K is it looks like there's more depth to the frame. The blacks are they're blacker, they're inkier. So, but sometimes now it's funny. Like, I've always wanted to get the best quality presentation possible, and now since I started YouTube, I've reached back, and now I actually enjoy watching VHS movies from time to time. Just because there's a bit of nostalgia there. Yeah, now here's the guy on the motorcycle from the Road Warrior, and basically they said that he's wearing, and of course hills have eyes, but the guy from the Road Warrior, he's pretty much wearing the same exact outfit as he wore in the Road Warrior. Like, where in the hell did these guys come from? Like, if you try to make sense of the plot, you're just going to get yourself in trouble. Ooh, somebody said Commando. Hold on. Commando is one of my favorite 80s movies. My first DVD was Mission Impossible 2, The Crow, and Final Destination. I was allowed to buy 3 with my player. Do you all have the DVD Easter egg book? No, I don't, but I remember that was a big thing about DVDs, the Easter eggs. I just remember Austin Powers, the second one, had a hidden menu with a completely different special features. And you had to go to, I believe you had to go to the special features menu and you had to wait. And after 30 seconds, then the screen would wipe and then a completely different special features page would open up. And so there was all these other hidden little features and documentaries and whatever. It was really cool. And I like that they were doing stuff like that with DVD. You don't see it nearly as much with Blu-ray or 4K. It's like the whole Easter egg thing's, it's done away with. Yeah, Jaws is coming on 4K, I think, next week or something like that. Jaws always gets a new... There's been so many freaking releases of Jaws. It's insane. I always think of Commando when I think of this guy. Bennett. Let off some steam, Bennett. He was a good villain in Commando. Your training, Matrix. He plays a good psycho, He just screams. Now, I think one of the ultimate DVD Easter eggs was Harold and Kumar, and I mentioned this in one of my reviews recently. Harold and Kumar escaped from Guantanamo Bay, and they completely, you could change the route of the movie, and there's a party, and everybody's topless at the party, and then you could switch it to where everybody was bottomless. One of the weirdest special features I've ever seen. Holly says, every time I think of John Hughes movies, I can't help but think of Not Another Teen Movie. Yeah, that's a class. I love Not Another Teen Movie. I always think of the scene in the duck when they're like, I agree, and then I agree. There's so many funny scenes in Not Another Teen Movie. The scene in Not Another Teen Movie when Mia Kirshner had to kiss the old lady, I couldn't take it. It was too much. It was too much. But the one thing that I always remember is they're trying to make this girl look like she's ugly and she's the nerd, and she has glasses and a ponytail. And all she had to do was like remove the ponytail and the glasses. Yeah, Vernon Wells, that's right. And the guy from Hills Have Eyes, who was supposed to be in The Crow as the Skull Cowboy. Luckily, they cut that scene out, though. It didn't really. I don't know. It made The Crow come off as a little like cheesy. I don't know. I think it would have been too much to have the Skull Cowboy in there, even though I believe he is in the graphic novel. The scary movie spoofs. I really like the first and the second one. I don't remember the third one that much, but I just remember I saw the second one when I was in Kuwait in 2001. I remember it came out, and there was just a whole bunch of us like around a computer watching it. And I just remember laughing my ass off, especially when the girl comes out, like The Exorcist. A lot of that is a spoof to The Exorcist, the second one. And she's like peeing on the carpet, and it just goes on forever. I need to watch those again, actually. Those were, because we don't really see good spoof movies anymore. I remember there was a few years where we constantly were just having these spoof movies, and they got so out of hand and so stupid that they just kind of wore themselves out. So this is the point of the movie right here. These two kids, they find their inner confidence and they stand up for the two girls. Which is it's a coming of age story. And I think every young boy is presented with this situation at least once in his life where he's got two choices. He can be a coward, and give in to fear, or he can do the right thing and say no, that's not going to cut it, and risk getting his ass kicked. And sometimes you just got to take an ass whooping. But in the end, after the ass whooping, you gain your respect. At least that's what I take from it. And if I'm bringing out my Mississippi by saying ass whooping, I apologize. Yeah, Hot Shots was so freaking funny. Both of them, one and two. I just remember in part two where Charlie Sheen had to beef up too because he had to get like Stallone level. And when they're sitting on the boat and he's like talking to the girl and he's like digging the boat with his knife, and he digs a hole in the boat, and then all of a sudden the water just shoots up. Hilarious. Stallone was such an easy target to make fun of in the 80s anyway. So it was almost like too easy. Because a lot of people didn't even realize that Stallone, like, he was paralyzed. Like, half of his face was paralyzed. A lot of people didn't even realize that. So, really, they're making fun of somebody that can't help it. But if Stallone isn't the ultimate, like, success story, and, motivation story, then I don't know what is. Because he was basically handicapped. And, I mean, look what he achieved. He became one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood. If you really think about it, this ending at the party where the two boys are standing up, it's very similar to Some Kind of Wonderful. Because at Some Kind of Wonderful, there's a party at the end. And Eric Stoltz's character, he stands up to the bullies. It's the same type deal, and I'm sure there's 5 or 6 other movies that were the same, the same situation. Pick your poison. I mean, this was a standard template of the 80s. especially for like high school movies. It seems like every time you had a high school comedy, romantic comedy, whatever in the 80s, there was always some party at the end. Risky Business was another one. Yeah, I read Robert Kerr. I read that Sly said Nighthawk's TV show is coming. Now, take that with a grain of salt, though, and I'm saying that from experience because Stallone is the type of guy that he'll have so many projects in his head, and a lot of times he'll tell everybody, "Hey, I got this coming. I got a Cobra TV show coming," and it never happens. So take anything, and Stallone's my guy. You know, I love the guy with all my freaking heart. Okay, but I take what he says with a grain of salt. Because a lot of times these projects, they don't come into fruition. They just don't. And I think he just puts too much on himself, you know? Especially now that he's getting old and he wants to do it all. He wants to conquer the world. I love freaking Nighthawks. That is one of the most underrated action movies out there. You know, it's got that gritty New York vibe to it, you know, because it's set in New York. You got Rutger Hauer as the villain. I mean, what more could you ask for? And Stallone's like the ultimate good guy, you know, the ultimate cop. But he's realistic in the movie. You know, he's not like Judge Dredd or somebody like that. You know, he's more like Pacino. They could have easily made a sequel to this because at the end, um, you know, it's just Lisa. She becomes the coach. But John Hughes didn't really do sequels. Did John Hughes do any sequels? Man, I tell you, this has flown by, guys. Like, you guys make this easy. You really do. This has been fun. You know, I'm really glad that Anthony Michael Hall is going to be in Halloween Kills. Um, and I remember before he was announced, like I couldn't think of who could play Tommy Doyle. And as soon as they announced him as Tommy Doyle, almost immediately I was like, "Oh my god, that's perfect!" Actually, because Anthony Michael Hall, he's like the ultimate, like I guess, guy next door. You know, just very relatable. And that's pretty much what Tommy Doyle is. You know, Tommy Doyle is middle America, just, you know, your average guy that you see at the grocery store every day. You know, he's the everyman. And so I think they couldn't have done a better job casting. And with those couple of pictures that we've seen of him. Oh, here's the part where Chet comes in. So I guess he just got through hunting. It's funny too, these guys, they got brand new cars. No rhyme or reason. Just brand new cars. Yeah, we've definitely kept it going here. There's been very few dry spots throughout this whole thing. Plus, it helps that we're watching Weird Science, which is one of the funnest movies of the '80s. Man, rest in peace, Bill Paxton. Let me know in the comments your favorite Bill Paxton movie. Man, what a treasure we had. He was such a great actor. And now, one thing they were saying at the because they asked him, of course, you know, how was it working with Bill Paxton? And you know, I think it was Anthony Michael Hall who said, you know, you always, you know, the cliche thing to say, is that, every actor's great to work with. Everybody's polite to each other. But he said Bill Paxton was the real deal. Like, he was one of the most professional guys on set, always willing to help out. And he was just a very good guy, very good person. I guess this sickness that he had it for a long time. And I guess he kind of kept it quiet. But, yeah, man, Bill Paxton. Game over, man. That line had new meaning after when he passed. Can you imagine that? He's sitting there with his girl, and then his brother. How embarrassing would that be? Your brother come through the door, want to beat the shit out of you. Now, the girl from Friday the 13th, she doesn't really have much to do in this movie. That's one thing I'm noticing. Oh, Twister. I saw Twister in the theater back in '96, and that was a great movie to see in the theater because it really felt like you were inside a freaking tornado. Yeah, and Bill Paxton was great in Twister. I just remember because we live here in Florida, and they used to have the Twister ride. It just ended a couple years ago, actually, the Twister ride over at Universal Studios. And Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt, they both have a part in the ride, because you're watching the screen. Like, you go into the ride and you see these like little 19-inch TVs. They look like Jolene here, and they're like hanging from the wall. And then on the screens, you see like static. It's like you're inside, like a tornado happens, and then the TVs react to it. But then you see Bill Paxton come on screen, and he's like, he's talking about, he's giving you all these facts about tornadoes and whatnot. But you could tell it was shot after Twister because his hair's longer. Helen Hunt's in it, but yeah, it was a cool ride though. I mean, it's not really a ride; it's just you go through it, and then at the end of it, you're just kind of standing there in these like bleachers, I guess, but you're standing up, and then you just watch like a tornado happen in front of you. And you see a cow like flying across, and there, of course, there's water and wind and all that stuff, and there's a red truck. It's a really cool ride, actually. It's a shame it's over. The Jaws ride's over too. They don't have the Jaws ride anymore, which that broke my son's heart. My son loves the freaking Jaws ride. Chad was the one guy in this movie that you were so glad that he got his comeuppance, I guess, because Lisa, she turned him into Jabba the Hutt, pretty much. Boy, this really gives you like respect for set designers, because can you imagine the work that goes into like paint? Like, they had to paint that whole kitchen blue, and there's so many unsung heroes, I guess, on movie sets, the crew that puts in all the work, and it's always the actors that get all the credit, and they deserve the credit because it's their face, they're the first thing that you see on the camera. But if you have an actor in front of a set that's not really dressed, it's just boring, it does take away from the movie. It just goes to show how important like set dressing is. If it makes me think of like a Halloween, when they did the first Halloween, and they had to go in, and when they shot that, they shot the opening scene last because the house was all dirty and decrepit and everything. And so at the end of it, they had to go in the house and they had to paint everything, the entire house. They had to make it look like it was a newer house from 1963. And we take a lot of that stuff for granted. We think that we can just blink and it'll happen, but no. I mean, there's a lot of work that goes into it. Because it's setting the scene. It's adding as much realism as possible to make the performances believable. That is a badass car. Yeah, man, I'm a sucker for great cinematography. It can make a boring movie interesting. That's the thing about cinematography. You take movies like Blade Runner. The cinematography just gives depth to movies. It makes it feel big. That's one of the reasons why Carpenter shot Halloween in 2:3:5 aspect ratio, because it just made it feel bigger. It made it feel more cinematic. Yeah, we've seen this ending so many times. He gets the girl. The nerd gets the girl. Oh yeah, car chases. Logistically, putting a car chase together, um, it's a lot of freaking work. And B, it's dangerous. It's like really dangerous. One of my favorite car chases is To Live and Die in L.A. Have you guys seen To Live and Die in L.A.? That is a freaking movie and a half right there. And if you ever want to find out how to counterfeit money step by step, watch To Live and Die in L.A. It's William Peterson. William Peterson's like one of my favorite actors from the 80s. Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe is a great villain, and he's really great in that movie. But talk about crazy twist endings too. Like it's a really effective twist ending. I don't want to spoil it for you, but man. Make sure you guys jump in tomorrow night too. Tomorrow night I'm doing 2 streams this week with you guys tonight, and then tomorrow night I'm doing my first live top 10, which is going to be really cool. Um, and I for the top 10 I actually put together some like footage, mostly just like images and stuff, so that way when I announce the number 10, number 9, number 8, I'll actually have like a visual representation of that. But it's going to be my top 10 favorite scenes from the Halloween franchise. And that doesn't mean like kill scenes. That just means scenes in general. Like, just to give you an example, the scene with Loomis, where he's talking about, the mystery of Myers. I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale emotion. All that stuff. That counts. That could be a scene. And one thing I'm trying to do with this countdown is I want to take every movie in the franchise and at least pick one scene. So that way I'm not picking, 3 scenes from one movie and then there's a lot of movies. Now I will say it was hard as hell for me to pick even one scene from Resurrection that was worthy to even be mentioned. And I guess that's a good way to tell if you really like a movie or not. If you think of that movie and you think, what is one scene in that movie that I really liked, that really stood out? That should tell you if a movie's really good to you or not. And Resurrection, boy, that's a tough one to find a scene. But I found one scene from that movie that I can put on the list. So it'll be a top 10, but there'll probably be like 3 honorable mentions, because I always like to give honorable mentions. Yeah, but oh, Ashley made it in here. How was work tonight? Glad to see you finally made it in here. I'm excited for it too. Jason Nike's doing a Facebook live stream early next week. That'll be cool. What time are you going to do it? Yeah, so they're walking away from the cars and then all of a sudden they disappear. That would suck too. To have to give those cars back. Good old Chit. Now there's other movies too where like everything goes back in reverse and it's like everything fixes itself at the end of the movie. That happened in Risky Business, didn't it? Because he pretty much turns his house into a whorehouse. Holly says, I just realized that Hilly Girl, brunette teen, in this was also in Friday the 13th Part 4. The girl, yes, Holly, where have you been? I mentioned that. Yes, she's the one that almost died in the raft in Halloween 4. I mean, in Friday Part 4. Honestly, I think she had a lot more to do in Friday Part 4 over this. Now, did you know, since we're talking trivia, and this not has nothing to do with this movie, but Brad Pitt was an extra in the movie Less Than Zero. If you watch Less Than Zero, there's like a nightclub scene where I think they're doing a handheld type shot and they're walking through, and Brad Pitt is in this group of guys and they're just like chatting, and it just goes past him, so he's in it for like a microsecond. Work was busy. Glad to be off. Thanks for asking. Yeah, no problem. Well, make sure you check out the replay. This was your first Patron live stream. We had a blast, right, guys? Tell her we had a blast. Kelly LeBrock did a good job in this movie. I haven't really talked about Kelly LeBrock that much, but she did. She was very convincing in this, actually. And it doesn't hurt that she looks like Kelly LeBrock, right? But what's interesting to me is that you could approach this part, like as an actor, you know, I wonder if she was thinking like in terms of like, do I act like a robot? Or and I'm sure she received some guidance from John Hughes, but there was nothing robotic about her whatsoever. But I guess in the end, they're wanting to make a real person. They're not making a robot. So, but I wonder if that was a question she had. Like, do I need to act a little robotic? Like, what's the deal? Oh yeah, so this was Robert Kerr's first time too. Cool. John Ingold, I think this was your first time. So, yeah, and we had 10 of you guys in here. That's the thing about the commentaries too. Like we have a big family, my patron family. There's 130 of us now, but we all have lives. And so it's always a challenge scheduling these things because I know that I'm only going to get a few of you because, like I said, we all have lives. We all have things that are going on. And a lot of times, you get home from work, you're probably just tired and you just want to veg. So I get it. But I'm happy that we got 10 people watching because usually I'll get like maybe 5, 6. But this is just one of the perks that I like to add for you guys. I do the two. How do you guys like the vlogs? Is that something that you think's cool? Or could you do without them? I mean, I like making them for you guys. Matter of fact, when I was doing this, I actually filmed me getting ready for this to give you guys a little bit of behind the scenes on how I set this all up and everything. So, I don't know. I enjoy doing those for you, but I'm always trying to like keep it fresh, think outside the box. So if you guys ever have any like suggestions of exclusive content that you would like to see, I'm all ears. Let me know. But commentaries are cool though because we can just veg, eat snacks, talk, tell lies, whatever. So you guys dig the vlogs. Good, good. Because I want to make sure I give you guys content that you guys like that's exclusive for you guys. Here's the big ending. I like how they play the theme from Rocky. Just out of nowhere. I remember Jason Nike was saying we should do like Rocky 2 sometime. That'd be a fun one to do. Robert Kerr, how I edit. Now, if you look, Robert Kerr, if you look back at, I did talk, I've talked a little bit about my editing process in some of my vlogs. If you look back at, I believe like the first couple, I do a little bit of that. But that's something I could definitely touch on more. I could touch on like thumbnails, how I do my thumbnails. I use a program called GIMP. I try to sprinkle in a little bit of that stuff with every vlog. I'm trying to like get out more with the vlogs. Maybe like I did the Rise of Skywalker. I went and picked up a movie. Going to the vinyl store, which was a lot of fun actually. So I'm always trying to come up with different things. A They Live review sometime this decade. I will tell you know what I will promise you this now, Jason. I will put out a They Live review this year. Okay, I will promise that. So now I got to stick to that. Credits are rolling, guys. This flew by. This was crazy. This was a lot of fun. Had a blast. So, what are you guys doing after this? What do you got going on? You just gonna chill out? I know some of you like were working late. Like Ashley came in late. Beth was working like right up to the second. So. How are you doing, Beth? Are you feeling better? I would love a Rocky 4 commentary. Oh my God, that would be fucking awesome. Matter of fact, Stallone on his Instagram today, he just posted pictures from Rocky 4 that I've never seen. Like there's one picture where him and Dolph Lundgren are working out together. Like Stallone's doing, what do you call that? Like one of the I think they're called Good Mornings or something like that. He's doing Good Mornings and he's got Dolph Lundgren spotting him. But he said out of all the on-screen fights he's ever had, the one with Dolph Lundgren was by far the, I guess, most dangerous, most brutal. I mean, hell, the guy freaking almost died because he got his heart got swole. So, swole. Can't talk tonight. Editing a video, then going to bed. Yeah, I usually try. It's hard. Like when I sit down in front of my computer, I feel like I gotta like. I can't like jump right into editing. And usually I like to edit like first thing in the morning. Like I'll set my alarm for like 5:30 because I got to be to work at 8:30. So a lot of times I'll set my alarm for 5:30 and I'll edit for like an hour and a half and then I'll get in the shower and then I'll get ready for work and all that. But I can usually get a lot done in an hour and a half. If I'm doing like a 10-minute review or something like that, probably 2 hours of straight editing can get that done for a 10-minute review. But I don't know. Do you like editing, Beth? Because I freaking hate it. It's definitely a pain. It's funny. I had this guy message me though, and he wanted me to pay him to edit my videos. And I was like, thank you for offering. But as much as I hate editing, I wouldn't like somebody else's product out there with my name on it. You know? I don't know. It's just, I don't call it a pride thing, but if I put something out there, I want it to be 100% me. You know, I want to edit it. I want to record it. I want to do all that stuff. So, yeah, I couldn't do it. There's no way I would let somebody else edit my footage. I can't do it. I don't know if that's vain. I don't know what it is, but I guess because I'm kind of a control freak with what I do, and if I see like because editing is a creative thing, you know, like one person edits completely different than the way another person edits, so you're gonna get two completely different products. That's why editing in movies is so freaking important. It really is. Like I guarantee you, the Snyder cut's gonna be a lot different than the Whedon cut. It's just voiceover with photos, so I have all the photos downloaded and the audio recorded. It won't take long. Just upcoming vinyl soundtracks. I look forward to those vinyl videos, though. Those are cool. I like to check those out on my lunch. I always like watching stuff that you guys do on my lunch. I have been loving Shudder and Joe Bob catching up. Yeah, I keep missing the Joe Bob episodes, and they're like 3 hours long, and I don't get like 3 hour blocks of time that often. So, but yeah, I love Joe Bob Briggs, and I just discovered him. Like, it's funny, like every horror fan knows Joe Bob Briggs except me. Like, I never followed Joe Bob Briggs until like recently, a couple years ago. But I mean, the guy's entertaining as hell, and he's very well spoken. Well, anyway, guys, this was a lot of fun. I loved hanging with you guys. If you guys get sick of the commentaries and you just want to do a live hangout to where we could just, I don't know, Q&A, I could ask you guys questions, we could just chat. If you guys ever want to do that, I'm cool with that too. Or we could throw a movie in the background. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of what we do anyway, I guess, right? But I'm always just looking for different ideas. But this isn't work for me. Like, this is fun. Like, I love hanging with you guys, just chatting, having a blast. So it's different than when I do this with, my subscriber base, because you guys are like just friends, I don't know. There's just a closer type feel, because I've gotten to know you guys along the way. So it's been really cool. So anyway, I guess I'm gonna check out. I gotta do a couple things, and I gotta hit the bed. I gotta freaking go to stupid work in the morning. So, Jason says I want to do some vinyl album reviews. I thought I would play a riff of a song on that album. I might have to do like a vinyl collection vid, because my collection's starting to get a little bit bigger now. I gotta fully blame Beth for this. She's the one that got me really into vinyl. But I was thinking about that today. I was like, maybe I should do like a vinyl collection vid sometime. As a matter of fact, I just ordered Kiss Dynasty on vinyl. I've been in a massive Kiss mood lately. I've always been a big Kiss fan, but I go through different phases, album phases. Like sometimes I'm in a Creatures of the Night phase. Sometimes I'm in a Lick It Up phase. Sometimes I'm Destroyer. And lately, for some reason, it's been Dynasty. I've been like so into that album lately, that so much so that I was like, I want to buy this on vinyl, because Dynasty is the type of album that you can it's like a great background album. You can put it on. Every song is good, start to finish, and you just enjoy it. It's just a fun album to listen to. So I can't wait. I'm finally getting my, I guess it'll be my second Kiss vinyl, because I have that Destroyer vinyl as well. So it's really cool. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna hit the sack, and I hope you guys have a fantastic night. And I will see all of you tomorrow night. Okay, we're gonna count down the top 10 Halloween. Should I give you guys one of the? I'll give you a scene from Halloween 6. Which I kind of give that one away anyway, because it's on the thumbnail. Pretty much that third act of Halloween 6 is going to be a good chunk of what's on there for that one. But what did I do for Halloween 4? Let me look on my computer. I actually already got my pictures. I'll tell you what. I'll show you the picture I got for Halloween 4 for the scene that I like. DD Live this week. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to pull up the picture. I'm going to put the picture on the screen for Halloween 4 for my favorite scene from the movie, okay? So hold tight. Here we go. No, not slideshow, just image. Image, here we go. Okay, here it comes. Boom. So you should see it on your screen here in a second. But yeah, that's my favorite scene from Halloween 4. What a freaking scene, too. The scene that scared me to death. I mean, this scene just, wow. What a freaking scene, right? Yeah, so that's going to be, and I don't know, they're not going to be, I'm not going to go in order of the franchise. I'm actually going to rank these. So, number 1 will be my favorite scene of the franchise, okay? But yeah, I freaking love that last scene. It just gives me chills every time. Still to this day, when I watch it, that scene gives me freaking chills. So good. So there's a little sneak peek for you guys, okay? I don't know what place that one. I still haven't decided what place, but that's probably going to be top 2 type stuff right there, okay? That's a freaking scene and a half. And that's the thing too, is like, how do I rank these according to how they're filmed, the emotional response? You know, there's a lot of different factors that weigh into this. So it's gonna be a fun countdown though. It's gonna be a really fun countdown. I still got to do a little bit of editing, like on each picture. Like on that one, I'll put like Halloween 4, and then below I'll put reveal, or like Jamie reveal or something like, or Jamie goes bad, something like that. I'll come up with some ideas. Sometimes I like to get creative and think outside the box and say something stupid. Like you'll notice in my titles of my reviews too. That's the thing I've been doing. I don't say like tourist trap review. That's boring to me. So I'll say tourist trap, and then try to find something within the review, maybe a line that I said or something like that, or a line that's from the actual movie, and I'll do that like kind of an add-on to the title. It's something stupid that I do. I don't know why I do it. It keeps it interesting for me. But anyway, guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow night. I hope you guys all have a fantastic night. Thank you for hanging out with me, watching Weird Science. I had a blast hanging with you guys, and I'm already looking forward to the next one, okay? So, anyway, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful night.